Roman Dumas was in it yesterday, and it's a beautiful car. 7-litre engine in these Ford Galaxies. They were lightened up in the day. There's a bit of
puffing fairly well, isn't it?
Just be a bit of
just a breather that's poking out underneath there from the big old Galaxie. But here is the lineup then, Ben.
Yeah, so Fred Shepherd in the Galaxie on pole, then Mike Jordan in the Lotus Cortina, and Gregor Fiskin in another of the Galaxies. That car didn't finish the first race. I mean, it can go for a result in this one, but it won't be in the overall standings. Then you've got Ambrogio Perfetti in another Cortina. Olivier Hart, we saw his dad racing a moment ago. He's in one of the Alfas. And then Andrew Wolf, Nick Swift, and Alex Furiani. Watch Nick Swift. He's top mini racer. Michael Cullen in the Cortina. Justin Law in another. He's in 10th place on the grid, so that's going to be a big battle up front. Then we get into the middle. Bill Solis is another very rapid mini racer. See how he gets on from 11th. Jason Stanley in another mini. Then Tom Sharp in one of the BMWs. Duncan Pittaway in the big Plymouth Barracuda. It's a hefty device. Grant Williams in a Jaguar Mark II. Charlie Cooper in the mini. Then Neil McFadden, Mark Burnett, Tim Lazel and Harry Burton completing the top 20 with a couple of more of the BMWs. Then Richard Butterfield, Ian Dalglish and Rui Makeda Silva with William Metcalf and Sandro Huber, and towards the back Nigel Webb, Francois Fabry, Wesley Butcher and Nicholas Dittig. We've got a real mixture of the big Ford Galaxies, the Lotus Cortinas, the Alfa Romeo Giulia Sprints. They're delightful cars, and certainly what Frank Stippler did yesterday with that Alfa was brilliant, and he was within such a tiny margin of the win.
Took 4 wheels to the grass on the way down to Woodcote, which was something spectacular. But of course, 25-minute race. They managed 17 laps yesterday, or the majority managed 17 laps yesterday. But you can't bet against the big Galaxie, can you? It's got that grunt to get away from the line, and if it gets away, gets clean into the fresh air, then it's going to take some catching, let alone passing.
Yeah, let's see what happens. There it is. It has fiberglass bodywork. Back when these cars were created in the early 1960s in America and brought over to the UK, they lightened them up. Despite all the 7-litre power they've got, they're big, heavy machines. They put fiberglass boot lid, and it's fiberglass front wings and front bonnet. So the front bodywork is mainly fiberglass. That was one of the main adjustments they made to try and lighten the cars up a little bit, but they are still brutally heavy, and they work their tyres and brakes very hard. The brakes, by the end of this race, can often be right on the limit.
Final race of the weekend then here at the Goodwood Revival. It has been a fantastic 3 days, consistent weather, consistently good racing all the way through from 2 wheels to 4. Whatever class you've been supporting, it has been a fantastic weekend for us and a true pleasure, I have to say, to commentate on. This is the St Mary's Trophy presented by Motul. It's part 2.
Yes, part 2. So there is going to be an aggregate result, but we will focus mainly, of course, on this race. These are the drivers, the entrants of these cars. Most of them are the owners of the cars, or certainly selected by the owner of the car to drive. But in most cases, these are genuine car fans who own their cars and are going racing today, having handed the cars over to an incredible list of drivers. Yesterday, celebrity drivers were ready to go for the second part of the St Mary's. The final race at Goodwood Revival 2022 is underway. Good start in the Lotus Cortina by Mike Jordan, but Fred Shepherd's power in the Ford Galaxie is surely going to get it back. Yes, it does, up towards the first corner.
But he goes defensive just to get another big car out of the way as well. So that's a two-way scrap in this first corner at Madwick, and then down. This is where the Cortina could just sneak past.
Look how wide, that's the car. Yeah, Frank Stippler. It's Alex Furiani who's in that car now, the number 33. That was the car that was so impressive to watch yesterday with Frank Stippler. It finished in second place, but I'm afraid Alex has made a little mistake early there and trying to move around. Then you've got the minis, and we will keep an eye on the minis because we saw a tremendous battle yesterday in the minis. Alex Brundle was having a hard time, and it all got very entertaining. But right up front at the moment, Fred Shepherd is leading, and we've got a good battle for third going on. The second of the Galaxie, he's just being passed there by Justin Law in the Cortina, and that's a good opening lap. You know, Justin started 10th. Anthony Reid was in that car yesterday and finished 11th.
And it looked sharp yesterday, so maybe the car is suited to the later part of the day, as well as it's cooled down a little bit now as well.
So let's see how this works out.
There's a Cortina all over the agricultural stuff in the background there. I didn't pick up which one it was. The turquoise Cortina was properly off the track, all four wheels. Oh, and now he's all locked up.
Oh, this is all getting a little bit tricky, isn't it? In the number 68 car for Michael Cullen. He's in between some of the minis as well, as we can see that Justin Law there has really moved up very, very effectively from 10th to 3rd, shot up the order. And then Gregor Fiskin in 4th place in the big red and white Ford Galaxie. There he is, so he's lost out on that position a little bit. Fiskin down in 4th place. He is being chased at the moment by Ambrosio Perfetti in another of the Cortinas, the bright blue car. So that's Ambrosio. He's in a car that Neil Yanni finished in 8th place yesterday. And then the Mini getting involved. So Nick Swift is the top Mini in the number 76. He's
Alfa looking for a way around the outside as well. That's going to be a tough move if he manages it in the little red Alfa.
Yeah.
So an opening lap of 1:36.9 from a standing start. Let's see how that develops. But I've got to say, the agility of the Cortinas. But do they stand a chance against the horsepower of the Galaxie?
This is on board with Charlie Cooper, and he's battling with Neil McFadden in one of the Cortinas. In number 66, Stoffel Van Dorn actually did a really fast race yesterday, finished 9th in that Cortina, having qualified quite a long way down. Oh, a little bit wide there for Gregor, who gets it back on, thankfully, and kicks up the dust.
You say that again. Fred Shepherd, though, is easing away with ease at the front. He's just powering that big Galaxie away. And he had quite a lead when he came over the line. It was 1.5 last time around from that standing start. Here we go, another pass.
Yeah, and you're actually on board with Gregor, and he has been passed by that Lotus Cortina. So he's going to have to keep working at this. It's a big
5 was a lead last time. As we get to the line again, Shepherd is already 2.3 ahead now. So the 92 car has pulled further and further away, and we get a bit of an overhead look at just a kiss of dust up into the face of the furious followers.
You're right. So he did actually briefly get ahead of Perfetti, but then Perfetti came back at him as they came down into the braking area, which is understandable. The Lotus Cortina can brake a little bit later, and that's exactly what it did. So it worked reasonably well. In the mix as well, there you've got the number 13 Cortina. That's Andrew Wolf. Steve Soper was in that yesterday, and then in the middle you've got the Alfa Romeo
Oliver
number 4.
Hart looking for a way up the inside, and he gets it. That's a nice move, using all the inside curve as well.
Yeah, Olivier Hart is always one who's very rapid in whatever he's in, and I think he's going to get past that Galaxie pretty fast.
I think you're right.
Mainly not down the straight. He's going to go for it before the straight. That's sensible, because he's got no cornering speed here that the Galaxie doesn't, and it gets very sideways.
Going to lose another place to the Cortina as well, who's nipped through, pushed the big boat to one side, through went the Alfa, followed by the Cortina.
Yeah, Olivier Hart,
another one,
is charging along in that beautiful little Alfa Romeo. Look at the sprint. Yeah, the Galaxie's so quick in a straight line, isn't it? But now he's going to have to brake earlier than these guys. Nice smooth turn on the steering. Not too much sliding going. Oh yeah, there you go.
Excuse me, Ben.
Commentator's curse. And that's a big moment.
Well. Will he get it all squared off by the time we get to the chicane? Yes, he makes it through. That's a very narrow chicane for such a big car. There's no doubt about it. Oh, and a mistake there.
Yeah, that was going on behind, I think. So let's have a look at what happened.
He took his nose. He took his nose going in.
Yeah, so with Andrew Wolf, oh, goodness me.
2 Cortinas got clipped there, courtesy of the big red vehicle, and it's still going on down towards the chicane.
That was lucky it didn't get worse, wasn't it? It could have ended up even a bigger pile. Now, look at the 2 minis. We're getting into another mini tussle, because you've got Nick Swift here in the number 76 car, very experienced mini racer, mini preparer as well, developing the engines. He prepares the engines for many of the cars that are out there. But Bill Solis is with him, and these two are great rivals in mini racing. The first and second, you've got Mike Jordan there in 2nd place. This is the battle for 3rd. Olivier Hart in the number 4. Red Alfa is really going for it on Justin Law in the Cortina.
Shepherd, fastest lap, 1 minute 30.523. He's over a second faster than just about everybody else out there. So the race leader is easing away. Last time it was 3.9 at the line. But look at this, that Alfa. We saw this with Stippler yesterday. The little Alfa around here just works so well.
It does, and that is Olivier Hart, who has now moved up well. So the opening lap didn't work perfectly for Olivier, but he's made up a lot of ground now, and that has brought him up into 3rd position. So Justin Law is in fourth. He's done well from that early start. And then we've got Ambrogio Perfetti in the blue Cortina following with our shot as they come over the line. So as they complete 4 laps, we've still got 18 and a half minutes to go. There's plenty of time here. The race lead is some 6.1 seconds between Fred Shepherd and Mike Jordan in second place. There is Jordan. Third place now then is the Alfa Romeo of Oliver Hart. Now, can he close the gap up to the second place Ford Cortina, Ford Lotus Cortina of Mike Jordan? I don't know. He is pretty quick.
There's plenty of time for it yet as well, but the big deal is that the 6.1 second lead that Shepherd has over Jordan, and again another fastest lap last time around. Shepherd is just building on the fresh air that he's got around him. Might get a bit different if he starts to catch in some traffic later on in this race, but a 1:30.021 last time around for Shepherd.
Isn't it fun watching the minis, the front-wheel drive minis, but the back end of the car, Bill almost running a little bit too wide there, Bill Solis. Nick Swift is leading the battle, though. There is Nick Swift. So Brendan Hartley was driving the car yesterday, and it didn't all quite work out for Brendan. He finished down in 16th place. So overall, it's going to be interesting in the, effectively the winning mini over the 2 races, because it's quite tough for Nick to be the aggregate winner, because Brendan Hartley was a bit further back, whereas Alex Brundle, who was driving the Bill Solis car, he was second and very close in the mini battle ultimately. So there's Mike Jordan. He's in second place at the moment, and Andrew was third yesterday.
Gone up to 7.5 seconds at the line, then in a further 4 seconds back. I think that's the figure to look at. Almost 4 seconds exactly between Jordan and Hart in second and third places to see whether the number 4 there.
Oh, Perfetti.
Perfetti, really. He did well, actually, to gather that back up again. That felt like a properly sideways 180-degree possibility.
Easily done. We saw that where Harrison knew he had a problem earlier in the car, got damaged as a result of going over some of those bumps. He got away with it there in the Lotus Cortina. A road-based car is sometimes a little more reliable.
Oh, that's a big in. He's gone in there pretty hard. The number 7 Mini, I think that is, he's still going, but I don't think it will be for long. So in has gone the number 7, Charlie.
And he's broken the windscreen.
Yeah, that gives you some idea of just how hard that is just there. Whether that's damaged the barrier, which will bring out. Oh, he didn't quite gather it up, did he, as it came straight into him. That may well have taken that conveyor belt off the front of the tyres, and if it has, they will, from a safety point of view.
Look at this, from the onboard view. You can see exactly how it happened.
It's going to hurt us.
Oh, that was so frustrating, because he nearly kept it out of the barrier, but it just did damage in the end.
We may have to have
Charlie.
a safety car just for the marshals to take a look to make sure the barrier is in good condition, but I think that's going to be a retirement.
Oh, what a pity. Yes, he is pulling over. Damage to the front end. Big slide in the background there from Olivier Hart. He is closing that gap up a little bit, though, isn't he? So let's have a look here. 2.5 seconds behind. He gained about 1.5 seconds on that last lap on Mike Jordan up ahead of him. And then Perfetti here is coming under more pressure from Gregor Fiskin in the huge Ford Galaxie.
There's a few bits and pieces of Mini still laying in the track that the Alfa Romeo goes over as he's chasing down this 77 Cortina. Your mathematics is very good, Ben, because it's 2.5 seconds now, which is 1.5 seconds off the 4 that he led in before. So very good, 10 out of 10.
What we have learned, though, unfortunately, in the mini battle is that there is a 10-second penalty for a full start for Bill Solis. So that rather spoils the race that he's having with Nick Swift. There is Charlie Cooper out of his mini as we see Mike Jordan come past him. But yeah, Bill Solis has been given a 10-second penalty, and that has dropped him in position now down to 30.
We're going to have a safety car here because of where that mini is stopped at the moment. You can't continue. There it is. The safety car board is out at the finish line. And 14.5 minutes of this race left to go. At least we get one more chance to look at that rather wonderful E-Type Jaguar. I don't know whether you're a fan of E-Types, but I'm absolutely a fan of the iconic E-Type.
Yeah, absolutely, you can't not be, but it's bringing the cars all together for now, as we see our race leader in the background, actually, Fred Shepherd in the Galaxie, who was enjoying an 8.5 second lead.
Well, that's the only good thing to come out of the safety car.
It puts them all together, doesn't it?
Indeed it does.
But Charlie Cooper...
We've got 2 up there.
Yes, and the BMW, yes, that's true. Sadly, we've got both cars, so it does make sense to bring out the safety car and try and get these cars into a safe place. So it's going to take a few minutes though to actually get this. So we are going to lose some potential racing time here, I think. Shame for Charlie. I do feel for him because he so nearly kept it out of the barrier. Just managed to clip it on the outside of the Magic corner. Charlie, who's part of the whole Cooper family, grandson of John Cooper, who created the Cooper cars.
Yeah, the lineage doesn't get much stronger than that, does it, really?
No. And it's a pity. I do feel for him. Bit of a tough one.
He very, very nearly got away with it.
Yeah. BMW, I think, looks like a pure retirement. Let's have another look at the start here.
Right, start from the Cortina in the middle. You watch the jump he gets on that. Just gets the drive, that initial drive, but then the two big multi-litre American cars get up with him, and it was a great start from Shepherd in the end once he got it all rolling. Power to weight.
Yeah, there was a bit of sliding in the middle. It wasn't a great start for Olivier Hart in the Alfa Romeo, but he's made up good ground since then, so he's come back into third position.
We saw the Alfa Romeo taking it to the Galaxie yesterday. Now there's an opportunity again behind a safety car. That Alfa just looks so well balanced on this track. It seems to suit the track very well indeed. We'll see what happens in the aggregate at the end of this race, of course. This is an aggregate race. The star men were in these cars yesterday, and today this part 2 of the St Mary's Cup.
Yes, that's right. But the key thing is, at the moment, that the car that won the first race yesterday is still the car that's leading the second race today. So that actually makes life quite simple. There is the car that won in the hands of Romain Dumas. Yes, it was by a tiny margin, but that tiny margin was over Frank Stippler. And the number 33 car that Stippler was driving, he is down in 8th place. So even though it's bunched them together, I'm not sure it's really going to give much chance, unless something goes wrong with the Galaxie, and then of course we could be in for a completely different aggregate result.
Of course, if it was a manufacturer's thing, then the Alfa Romeo if there was a manufacturer's trophy, maybe the Alfa Romeo will have been taking it after the second part today, but of course it's not. Cortinas looking very, they look loose though, the Cortina. Look like fun to drive, but just a little bit looser than you perhaps would like, compared with the Minis and the Alfa, as it turns out.
So they're going to try and get the car into a safe place. So presumably they're going to move both cars, both the BMW and the Mini, which is definitely going to take a few minutes. But the clock is still ticking away because this session will be coming to an end. There is a curfew at 6 p.m. I don't think they're going to be able to carry on with the racing after 6 p.m. We shall just have to hope that they get another lap or two before the end. Here's where it went wrong. He just ran a bit wide, ran onto the grass, back on the tarmac, back onto the grass, and it just was sliding a bit too far out wide. It's such a fast corner, that Magic corner. You go in at such a high pace. Something like the Mini, you barely brake for the corner, and sadly it just didn't work out. And then he had damage.
The front wheel's in the bodywork, and you've got to reckon that that suspension was rearranged slightly. Oh. I think the radiator on a Mini, is that not on the right-hand side? They've got that transverse 4 engine, haven't they? It's been a long time since I worked in a British Leyland garage. And I did when I left school.
So I bet you worked on some Minis then.
The amount of Minis you worked on back in the day, and they were awkward little devils to work on.
Yeah, all the engines squished into the front, but such wonderful cars as well. And they became great competition cars and winners of the British Saloon Car Championship in 1961 with John Whitmore and in 1962 with John Love. So the overall champions, the way it worked then was they had various different classes in British saloons, and you got points according to how you finished in your class, and then it was all added up at the end of the season, and you could win from any class. And so down at the bottom end, or the lower class, but this racing was still very strong, but you could win from that lower class, and that's what John Whitmore did do in 1961 and John Love in 62 with the Minis. After that, it all got a bit bigger. The following year, funnily enough, Jack Sears won the championship, doing a little bit with Lotus Cortina, but then the Galaxie, the Ford Galaxie, really worked for Jack Sears. When Jack switched to the Ford Galaxie, he won every single race of that British Saloon Car Championship in 1963 after he'd switched from the Ford Lotus Cortina. So yeah, the Galaxie has great history in British motorsport. That's why we see it. And the car that's currently leading is one of, I think, one of only two that actually got sent here in those early 1960s to do the British Saloon Car Championship.
Tom Sharp unceremoniously tugged around the inside of the course to a safe area. The BMW will take no further part. The Mini.
Funnily enough, actually, that car didn't finish yesterday either. Emanuele Pirro was in it. So they've obviously got some mechanical. It didn't look damaged, did it?
No, it was come to a halt all of its own accord. This is going to be an interesting restart as well, as things have got a little bit cooler. Wait for the light to go out on the top of the pace car.
This has hurt Bill Solis even more, because now they're all bunched up. Now he was given a 10-second penalty earlier, remember? And because now they're all bunched up, it actually pushes him even further down the overall order. So that is going to be a little bit painful, and it means that in the mini battle, I think they're not going to be in the fight for the overall victory, which is a bit of a shame. But that's what happens if something goes wrong at the start, which is what they've got the penalty for. That's how it counts, and you have to take that penalty. So Craig Shepherd leading from Mike Jordan in second place, then Olivier Hart and Gregor Fiskin, and then we've got Ambrosio Perfetti in the blue Cortina, and then Justin Law, who moved up well. I think we might have to keep an eye on him, because he had a very good opening lap on the original start, Justin, in the number 70 white Lotus Cortina, which is just sort of towards the back of that little group. There you are, you're on camera.
Glad to see you're still here, waiting for the last race and the traffic to clear outside.
It's so lovely to see families here this weekend enjoying the sight and sound of such beautiful cars. And haven't we all been so lucky, Keith, with the weather? I mean, it's been absolutely glorious. I know it gets a bit chilly into the evening and chilly when we've arrived in the mornings, but we've been so lucky.
My first Goodwood Revival, and I've been very lucky to and privileged to join in on what, from many were saying, walking around outside here, one of the best as far as driver lineup is concerned. Certainly a lot of very, very, very expensive cars. We've seen the Ferraris. Doug Nye joined us yesterday. That was a highlight for me, I've got to say, because what he doesn't know about Ferrari and Mr. Enzo Ferrari as well isn't worth knowing. So having Doug Nye up here as well, joining us in commentary, it was a good call. That was your call, Ben. I'm pleased with you.
Yeah, well, it was just I didn't know Doug was available, but I just asked the guys to see if there was someone who could just bring us a little bit of extra. And to have Doug with us was, as you say, brilliant writer, so much knowledge. It was very, very useful.
And I've just met one of my heroes as well, Jimmy Johnson. I met him a little bit earlier on.
Who we thought had a podium earlier.
Well, you see, Dario Franchitti is a motorcycle man as well, and Dario Franchitti I've known for a long time, and Dario introduced me to Jimmy Johnson. So I really ticked the box there for me, because having been involved in NASCAR and IndyCar previously, obviously seeing Jimmy Johnson was a bit special for me. The lights are out on the E-Type. That means that we go racing. The next time we exit the chicane, the lights are on the Alfa, so he's in intimidation mode already, ready to try and take it to the Cortina in front of him. Two lots of lights, both on Alfas, significantly.
Here we go then. We're about to go racing for what is probably the final time of the weekend now, because we've only got 6 minutes to go. Let's see how the restart goes before I say that. But yep, here we go. Racing once again is underway. Fred Shepherd in the big Ford Galaxie going again. He's got such good straight line speed. Mike Jordan is now under some pressure from Olivier Hart in the Alfa Romeo. Then Gregor Fiskin, and then the two Lotus Cortinas. There's Justin Law, who made a really good start earlier.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what the Cortina a bit sideways there. That'll give the Alfa an opportunity to get on top of him as we go down to the fast part of the course now. Which way is he going to go? The Alfa looks very, very sharp through here, and he's right in the slipstream. A little bit of inside curve, the Cortina just bouncing a little bit loose, and again the Alfa looks for the perfect line. He's not going to go around the outside, surely. Oh, hang on a minute, what am I on about? He almost did. Maybe he will. This is going to be on the inside now. Can he make it work? No, it's too tight. Well, that's pretty impressive driving, I've got to say. But again, the Cortina's sliding around. He has intimidated him into a mistake, and the Alfa goes through. That is absolutely superb driving. Will he be outbraked by the Cortina? No, he wipes it across his nose. Great racing for second place, and the Alfa goes through. The number 4 Alfa has made it up. Hart has made it work.
Yeah, and that was such clean racing. Mike Jordan just gave him as much room as he could, but here's Gregor Fiskin coming through as well. Whether he's going to continue through, I don't know. He's got this straight line speed, but both these other cars are quicker through the corners, but he can block them now. Look, you use the middle of the road a little bit, but no, straight away comes back. The Alfa, he locks up the front, gets away with it, and he has got back in front. That was brave by Olivier Hart. Mike Jordan's trying to do the same, and Mike will be frustrated by this because he was running in a very clean second place before the safety car came out, but the restart's not worked well for him.
Yeah, the power of the big Ford has thundered along behind him, but the Alfa is now out of his grip pretty much. It's going to be down to whether the Cortina...
Oh, I think Justin Law just pulled over, I believe. So that's another car that's in trouble. So here's the straight line speed, and he had to really find his his way between two cars.
Watch the Alfa now jink to the left-hand side, his left-hand side, and try and get up the inside, in the braking area. That was brave. Round the outside, he got a bit of a lock-up, but he controlled it absolutely perfect. Those Alfas work well here.
Look in the background, you see the Cortina pulling over, and I'm afraid that's Justin Law, whose car has come to a halt. It's come in a safe place. He's put it into a place that doesn't mean we need to put the safety car out, but that is a great shame because he'd been having a good race up until that point. All of this has allowed the Mini of Nick Swift to move a bit further up. It's now up into 6th place.
My concern is whether this car, the 4 of Olivier Hart, has got enough pace in 3 minutes and 20 seconds before the flag comes out to take it to the leading Galaxie.
Yeah, well, I wonder. I think the safety car's helped the Galaxie. It's cooled everything down. It's cooled the brakes down, cooled the tyres down. But now, actually, he's got under pressure again from Gregor Fiskin, who passed him.
Shut the door on him there. It's all about car placement, isn't it, in this situation? You've got to place the car so the one following doesn't have any advantage in the braking area or in the power area when it comes to the big Ford. I don't quite know how they get them through the chicane without clouting something.
Well, let's see as Olivier goes across the line, but he is some 2.1 seconds off the race leader. It's looking good for Fred Shepherd at the moment with 2.5 minutes to go.
Tell you what, Olivier Hart's time of 1 minute 30.5 just then. That's a fast time in that little Alfa compared with a 1 minute 30.0, half a second off of Shepherd in overall top time today so far in this race. But that's a quick time if he can keep fresh air in his own line around this track.
In the background, you can see the Mini of Nick Swift. So he's still in that sort of group, but we have still got a rivalry going on for this 2nd place. The speed of the big Ford Galaxie up against the nimbleness that's going on behind. Further down the order as well, another of the Minis are battling away. That's the Metcalfe car, the number 63 car. William in the car at the moment. Tom Blomqvist was driving it yesterday, but here we go. Let's see whether Nick Swift can do anything in the number 76 car. He's currently in 6th, and it's always fun to see a Ford Cortina, Ford Lotus Cortina up against a Mini, where the Mini's got great cornering pace, but it doesn't have the straight line speed. Oh, here we go.
Talking the straight line speed, right on cue for Ben was the pass that we were expecting in the oh, he's not going to be able to get around him this time. That was where the Alfa managed to ride around the outside of him, but he's still trying it. He's going to get pushed up on the curb. He's going to get pushed up on the grass. That's going to be costly. He's never going to get it stopped by the chicane. He's going to have to go the long way round. He does. He comes back on the track, but missed out the chicane. I don't quite know how the stewards will deal with that. Was he forced to go there? Will they deem that an error that was forced on him? We're going to see it again. He tried to stay around the outside, but the big Ford gave him a nudge. There was no way the Ford could turn anymore.
Look how close he is to the barrier here.
Yeah, it's a good bit of driving.
Close.
There's no way he could have turned, otherwise he would have definitely have spun out there.
That was a brilliant bit of control.
I think he's going to have to give the place back.
I don't. I think he was pushed off. I mean, he was alongside. I do feel he should have been given space. He wasn't given it.
I don't think that big car could have given him
Well, that is the problem.
I think it was properly on the slide anyway.
I think, yes, Gregor was just on the slide and therefore couldn't. But I do think he was fully alongside going around the corner. So I think it was justified. He was brave to hang on in there.
Going to be interesting to see how they treat that. I hope they treat it the way you're talking about, because I think the Alfa deserves it. But
he is in front of it again, isn't he?
Yeah. And
having taken the chicane in a slightly straightforward way.
It was the way that Tony Jardine should have taken that Jaguar yesterday.
Yes.
Sorry, Tony, had to mention it. He clouted the chicane.
Mike Jordan is still in 4th position, and then we've got that battle going on in the background as well between Perfetti and Nick Swift, the Cortina versus the Mini. Then I don't think the Mini's going to have.
These are going to come to the checkered flag now. We're at checkered flag time because we've run out of time, and we're also at that moratorium that we get 6 o'clock. So wait for it now. The checkered flag will be out. This will be the last time at the chicane. This man will be the winner. So over the line goes. It's absolutely superb. Shepherd wins under the checkered flag. The final race of the day. Hart is 2nd. Fiskin comes home in 3rd place, but will that be the way round that 2nd and 3rd are, I wonder? We'll have to wait for the stewards. And then a bevy of Mini and Cortinas all dicing for the final line of the weekend.
Across the line they go. So Fred Shepherd takes the final victory of the weekend, and actually, that was a big moment there in the number 66 Cortina.
Hasn't finished yet.
Neil McFadden. He so nearly lost it, but he's gathered it back together again. And the BMW trying to make up some ground. Tim Lazel, I thought he might gain a place across the line, but no, Lazel hasn't quite managed to do that, I don't think. He's been beaten by Rui Maqueda Silva, but the race winner is Fred Shepherd, and I tell you what, that is the aggregate victory as well, because that car won yesterday by a tiny margin of 0.678 seconds. Today it has won by 2.9. So although I can't predict the rest of the aggregate result, I can tell you that the overall St Mary's Trophy winner who'll get the prize is this car with its two drivers, Fred Shepherd and Romeo Dumas. And let's have another look at this rather frightening looking moment.
I don't think the big Ford on the inside could have done very much more. He was drifting out and forced the Alfa onto the grass, but the outstanding driving must still go to the Alfa driver, having missed just about everything that was in his face.
It was brave. Both the Hart family, we saw David Hart out earlier and doing some pretty hard racing as well. They do race hard here at Goodwood, and then they bring some beautiful cars and always entertaining. Nick Swift in the background, by the way, was the fastest Mini, the best Mini to finish, and he finished in a fine 6th place overall, so many congratulations. And well done everybody here who has enjoyed the Goodwood Revival. There are still activities going on here at Goodwood, although there will be no more track activity. The racing has all come to a conclusion. But when we get to 8 o'clock and that minute's silence to remember Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, after that it will be the event all over here at Goodwood. But it has been a celebratory event in many ways, of such tremendous driving, beautiful cars, talented drivers, and on this occasion it is Fred Shepherd who has taken the final win of the day, and together with Romeo Dumas they've taken the St Mary's Trophy together. Of the weekend here, and it has been a great fun to watch. But we've also been able to celebrate our very own Ed Foster taking a victory earlier. Well, I can tell you he's back to his normal work now. We're going down to him for the interviews.
Gregor Fiskin, I'm going to come to you first. Blimey, it's quite hairy at Woodcote.
Yeah, I think that's my first 60s touring car race. And I've now learned you don't even leave any room anywhere because these guys are there. But, you know, I've got a big car. And, you know, on the exit of Woodcote, I think old Ollie was out there and he didn't give up.
It was a fantastic drive from you. Well done, Gregor. Here we are, Olivier.
It's fine.
Blimey, a lesser man would still be down in that barrier, Olivier. What a cracking drive.
Yeah, I know the GTA has a bit more grip on the outside, so I thought, like, let's try to stick it. But I saw the front coming closer and closer to me, so I was like, okay, now I need to avoid on the grass, and I couldn't steer. So I was like, just avoid the barrier, and then yeah, I couldn't brake for the chicane because it was on the grass. So yeah, the only option was going straight. But yeah, there was a good recovery drive. The start was pretty bad, like the start of the race before. But then I just managed my way through and did some good laps and did a great restart and then just drove the rest of the race like I race normally. So yeah.
It was a great drive through the field. Well done, Olivier. Right, where's Fred? Here's Fred. Fred, your heart must have dropped when the safety car came out, but what a faultless race.
Yeah, it was a little bit of one of those moments. And then quite quickly behind, I saw Olivier and I thought, oh, this is not done yet. I don't know if the track got grippy or I ran out of tyres or brakes or what it was, but I just couldn't get the time out of the car second time round. And little Alfa glaring its headlights in my mirror was scaring me a little bit.
Fred, whether you can get the time out of the car or not, I can now tell you from experience, it does not matter. You've won.
No, it's a bit surreal. It's childhood dream. Been coming here since I was, a baby, and it's a real honour, for Dad to have given the drive, and to do it in this car is delightful.
Congratulations, Fred.
Brilliant. Cheers, Ed.